time to put these lectures together for us to learn one or two things again on how we can do the business of our oil and gas exploration better. On behalf of the executive of NAPE, the Board of Trustees and the Advisory Council, to welcome each and everyone to the technical business meeting of the Warri chapter. Please do enjoy the opportunity of this to interact, to network with one another, and also let us ask questions as we continue to increase our knowledge of oil and gas business. Thank you very much, and do enjoy the rest of this section. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Benedict.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Benedict. I appreciate your. God bless you, sir.
What the phone?
So we are on to the speakers profile. No colleagues. So the chairman of the technical today is Dr. Christopher Asuko Jackson, the senior geoscientist within the web.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here to give the chairman's profile. So, I'm Sunday Peter, and I'm sorry for coming beyond the Dr. Christopher Asuko Jackson is oriented certified senior geoscientist and a modeler. Women certified. NG West. He has over 15 years of hands-on experience in geology and geophysics and has worked with other subsurface technical cross-subdiscipline, including petrophysics, reservoir engineering, production technology, well drilling and completion for key this seismic interpretation, sequence stratigraphy analysis, sedimentological description, and ecological studies. These are about characterization and technical intelligence, HSSC, and cultural economics. He has proven In addition to the Nigerian Institution of Petroleum Exploration, NAPE, where he was editor-in-chief for 2 consecutive tenures for 4 years, spanning from 2018 to 2018 to 2022. In charge of technical publications of research works, projects of oil and gas companies, and research institutions, as well as the coordinator of technical sections in NAPE and international conference and exhibitions. He has an active member of other prominent professional bodies, BIGS, NNGS, AAPG, SEC, NIM, etc. He has been the coordinator of NAPE pre-conference short courses and summer school, coordinator of the NAPE Business Evaluation competition in 2017, and chair in the for the AAPG Imperial Barrel Award. He is also a fellow Institute Management consultant. He is about yourself for undergraduate intern, junior geoscience professionals. Dr. Jackson is notable for geoscience research and technical presentations with publications in reputable local and international journals. He was the winner of the prestigious Geoscience Research International Award, that is the 2019 American Association of Petroleum Geologists, AAPG. Awards for best international papers in San Antonio, Texas, United States. The first African researcher to win the award after 25 years. I was thinking of how without wasting much of time, permit me to welcome Dr. Christopher Asupo Jackson.
Good afternoon, everyone. I believe you can hear me. All right. You're most welcome to NAPE Warri Chapter Technical Business Meeting. I want to welcome this opportunity and apologize to everyone starting this meeting slightly behind schedule. You know, it's actually not a tradition, but then this has become inevitable. And before I start, I want to observe all protocols. I'm aware this program is hybrid. As a result, we have a lot of professionals, dignitaries, and senior colleagues of ours online. So I want to use this medium and especially recognize the president of NAPE and the president-elect of NAPE. And I do know we have a lot of fellows and ESCO of NAPE online. And those in the hall, I want to appreciate every one of you and thank you for joining this session. Today is a very interesting day, and without much ado, we've gathered ourselves. And in the learning, we know that geophysics is a bedrock of exploration and development geosciences, very key in the oil and gas industry. So we have a speaker in our midst today that will be dissecting seismics. For those of us that are into geophysics, even those in the geosciences or other aspects, you know, of geology, we'll be learning a lot today. So I want to implore every one of us, before I go into reading the profile of the speaker of today, I want to implore us, please pick up your pen, pick up your biro, because we are going to be learning together. We have an experienced professional who will be making a technical presentation in this April's technical meeting of Warri chapter. So it's actually my pleasure to read the profile of the speaker of today's session. And as we progress during the presentation, if you have any questions, just take note of it. At the end of the presentation, we will come back and begin to engage, discuss. You can share your thoughts, you can ask your questions, and there will be clarity. I promise you that the speaker is fast as when it has to do with geophysics. So here in our midst, we have Mr. Stanley, A.K. He is the MD CEO of Mease Energy. He first worked in 2002 with CNPG BGP as a junior seismologist in Seismic to be the assistant processing center manager of CNPG BGP Seismic Data Processing Center in Port Harcourt. In 2006, he was an experienced geophysicist with Western Jericho in charge of training in the joint venture between Western Jericho and IPC. In 2008, February, he joined ION as geophysical supervisor in a joint venture between ION Science and Bowen. He became the MD CEO of Mease Energy Nigeria Limited in joint venture with TIS Solution based in Germany as a technical partner in seismic data processing and other geophysical support in the oil and gas industry. Mease Energy Nigeria Limited is based in Port Harcourt. Today, we'll be listening to his presentation on the topic, steps to obtain quality seismic data in seismic data processing. So it's my pleasure, without waste of further time, to invite Mr. Stanley A.K. to the podium to make his presentation. Thank you very much.
First of all, I want to thank you. Greetings to the national president, the chairman, other members, lecturers, students, and everyone present. We've said too much about things that we don't have too much. Today, I'll be giving you some brief lectures in seismic data processing. I'm happy to see the population here. 80% of students, if not possible, 90% lecturers, a few expressions, professionals to say. And I hope this will be beneficial to students and all. So we'll start first. Next slide, please. This is the content I'm going to go through. First, I'll give you an introduction. I'll talk about processing, pre-processing, processing itself, signal enhancement, and migration. We'll be speaking of processing, so let's move to the next slide. Next slide, please. Okay. There is no way I can speak about processing or talk about processing. Seismic data processing, we're talking about seismic data acquisition. Next slide, please. Also, I would like you to understand that there are three major in this possession. We talk about seismic data acquisition, seismic data processing, and seismic data interpretation.
The three go hand in hand for you to have a full exploration system. Next slide, please. Now, you're going to ask me what is seismic data processing to the student. I remember last time I was there, I was speaking about technology for seismic data processing. And I see most of the faces in the hall that they sleeping. They were like, what is this? What is this saying? But today we're going to show you exactly what the seismic data processing is. First, we talk about the seismic data acquisition. This is the first of the three distinct stages of seismic exploration. The other two being seismic data processing and seismic data interpretation.
See those 4 icons there. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the last one. Just put it there. You see what I'm saying? See the presentation. You see 1, 2, 3, 4. That last. Put it in there. This is on the back. No, not this one. This one puts the number. No, this one. I have put it there. It will display as title. It's not the show already. It's not the show already. It's fine. It's not the show already. I don't share this line and show. Yeah. I think it's fine. I don't share two screen myself. It's okay. Yeah, they should.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay. Sorry for the breaking transmission. Like I said, seismic data acquisition is the first of the three distinct stages of seismic exploration. The other two being seismic data processing and seismic data interpretation. Seismic acquisition requires the use of seismic source at a specified location for a seismic survey. And the energy that travels within the subsurface are seismic waves. I believe when I'm speaking, you understand what I mean seismic source. I mean energy. This wave generated by sources gets recorded at specific locations on the surface that what is known as receivers. The receivers can either be geophones for land seismic or hydrophones for marine seismic. The diagram below shows a simple description of the source and the receiver. When you have a source, example of a source is a dynamite. If you have a source being detonated at a certain point, it generates some waves which propagate through the Earth's surface. We know that the Earth itself is heterogeneous in nature. It has different layers. So as the wave propagates through the different layers, there is an itch, a kick, or a spark. So this spike gives rise to information about the geology of the Earth. As it kicks from the first layer to the second layer, there's a transmission. And as you're moving from one layer to the next layer, the energy of the source gets released. In physics, we call it effect. As I'm speaking here, I believe people here has more energy of my voice compared to someone. And as you move towards the gate, they might hear me on. So the energy from the source to the receiver to appreciate as a process for them. In sound, and light, we call it Doppler's effect. But in energy, we call it wave decay. I want you to understand that as the source propagates down the earth, and the earth is heterogeneous, not smooth. There are bands of beings of reflection, transmission, reflection, transmission, reflection. You know in your normal physics, reflection, the way it's hitting the surface, going back up to a particular direction. Now, this is a simple design of an acquisition pattern in the field. The blue lines you see vertically, they are receiver lines. While the one horizontal, it ought to be red, they are source lines. It's a generic source line and receiver lines in the acquisition field. The idea of this diagram to show you how a seismic signal or shock is being generated. When you take a shock, the first shock, the shock generates energy, and the receivers on the first the receivers on the first receiver line, they are the first to pick the signal. Next slide. Again, the same energy is moved to the second receiver line. Again, to the third receiver line. And again, to the fourth receiver line. When you flip this diagram, you're going to see something close to what you see on the right hand side. What you see on your right hand side is what you define as a short exercise. At each point, there are hookups in terms of different lengths. This gives rise to the different shadows you're seeing, the kicks. Also, the same is applicable to the marine seismic. You see the point is in charge of the source and it has streamers along. The streamers could be 1, 2, 3, 4, and the case will be depending on the application design. The same principle holds. The same principle holds when you shoot from your source or your receiver, and it gives you information on the shot. Next slide. Now, that's acquisition. This is processing. When I move this data, or when I convert this data, this is recorded in time domain based on offset and time into a true picture of the subsurface geology. This is what we describe as seismic data processing. The process of converting seismic data recorded in time domain into a true picture of the subsurface geology is called seismic data processing. Next slide, please. Again, we move to seismic data interpretation. Last time. We can easily say that seismic data interpretation is the structure of the subsurface geology information from the seismic data. I don't want to go deep into seismic data interpretation. I just want to define the 3 arms of seismic exploration, but we'll focus on seismic data processing. Next slide. In seismic data processing, this is pre-processing. We have, before you process a seismic, you have to prepare it. Okay, this should go ahead. So inside data processing, we prepare the data. There's what we call the data loading, your QC, your geometry, and short and data edits. In data loading, when the data is applied from the field during seismic acquisition, this data is being supplied to the seismic data processing center. And when the data gets to the seismic processing center, you have to acknowledge the receipt of this data set. What have you received from the client? You receive the short record, or you receive the tapes that contain the short record, and all that documentation associated with their position. Now, you do your QC. You check if everything given to you is what the client has earlier promised to give for the job to manage. What I mean is that they supplied you, they said they're going to supply you an area of 260 square kilometers to process. This is the roadmap. They are sending you 300 tapes. They are sending you ops logs. They are sending you observers record. They are sending you nav data. All these things, you're going to cross-check for the client information if they have. So once the data arrives into your check, and the next step you need to do in prepping your data is geometry meant or geometry assignment. This seismic data is short. You can't say this, if you see particular shot, you cannot identify where that shot is, except you are being told that shot is taken around a PTI area. But in job business, we don't address, we don't allocate identification with monuments. We identify locations with latitude and longitude. We call them X and Y. So those information will be generated when these seismic shots have been taken. You have your X and Y, you have your feedback identification movement. You take your first shot, you take your second shot, you take your third shot. All the things will be ordered accordingly. So when you have this information of each of the shots, for every Friday, the number of channels, you saw what I was showing you at the spread. The first cable, second cable, third cable, and fourth cable. Each of those documents is described as channel. So now, you want to confirm if those channels have the proper X and Y information. So you take that shot, you match it to the information which is described as SPS or navigation data to confirm. So that shot, each shot can be identified with their X and Y, with their FFID of the number of channels assigned to them. When this is done, you now do some editing. Editing in the sense that when you take a seismic shot, there are bound to be some errors, human errors, machine errors, as the case may be. Example of a machine error or human error, you have maybe line break. When you're taking your shot, communities might decide to terminate some of the lines of the cable, the receiver lines, and in so doing, signal might not process through. They might have an edge. So when you try to identify all these errors in the shot, you try to take them out. Some shots can be taken again. Maybe the area, the particular hole that was dug for the source was not sufficient enough. Or maybe the geology where that shot was taken was too weak. It may result in some blowout. Instead of the energy to go down the earth, they will come up. Those shots can be regarded as bad shots. Why it's affecting just particular channels, we call those things bad traces that needs to be edited. So all we will do process of editing. So take out so that when you go fully into processing, you have the right trace and shots for trace. So after trace editing, we now move to processing properly. Now, each shot has been identified. has header information. The X and Y, the FFID. Now you can play with shots away. Just the way you are sitting there today. We have people in the high table and separated copy. Those of you hearing. And the same way, in the hall here, I can say, okay, let all the females move to one side, all the males move to one side. I can even know that this is a male, this is a female. This is your haircut or your dressing. Your haircut, your dressing, all those are your headers assigned to you. I can know you're the male, female, but to address it properly, you're okay, you're putting the male share. So the same, when you're being identified, then you can be sorted around. It can be played around with. And in so doing, once you can play around anything, then you can maneuver and get whatever you want. Thank you for coming back. Okay. We just went to that. We're done with this one.
Go to the next one.
Move this part of trace editing. Now we talk about processing. Now we have our data given to us with all bad shots, bad traces being edited. Now I want to play with you. When you take your shot or the land surface, for example, it's not a flat surface, it is undulating. So first, the nature of this undulating nature gives rise to some static shift. So we will try to correct this static shift. We call it static correction. We try to make it to be as seen on the same level so that all events will align properly. When we apply the static correction, it gives room for better alignment of events and make your seismic session smarter. Next slide, please. We talk about amplitude analysis. I mentioned earlier on that when you take a seismic, the energy depreciates downward. At the top, you have high energy, at the deep, you have low energy. Before you do any good processing, once the condition of seismic, it is good for you to balance the seismic from up to bottom. This will help you to address different kind of noise in the seismic. It's what you see is what you address. What you can see, you can address it. This is used to compensate for short defector and offset better imaging. Next slide. This is an example of amplitude balancing. This is A shows a short record without amplitude balancing from top to bottom. Why? Because B is telling you the short is balanced. We compensate the energy. We try to build it up so that from top to bottom, we get the same. If you look at figure A, it will be difficult for you to identify anything under from 2 seconds downward. No energy to address. But in figure B, you can even see energy to address and manipulate and work on figure B. So when you do a proper amplitude balancing, then you go ahead and do your noise attenuation. Next slide, please. Noise attenuation. What is noise? We are here speaking. Of course, what I'm giving to you is signal. And what is coming out from outside, the generator noise is affecting, it's affecting what I'm getting. So noise could be from within when you acquire a seismic. You cannot tell me that because we are acquiring a seismic, those who are doing that oil should not drink that oil. You cannot tell those who are driving cars within the environment to stop driving the car. You cannot tell the animals in the bush to stop running. You cannot tell the birds to stop flying. So this is generating noise, and this noise, during seismic acquisition, can be classified into two: the correct noise and non-correct noise, which is not the next time. When we say something is correct, these are noise that repeatedly, frequency and amplitude noise, such as we have the guided wave, the mod rule, swell noise, multiple noise, so on and so forth. Each acquisition is tied to or is synonymous with different kind of effects of noise. In land, the kind of noise you get in land, so much different from the kind of noise you get when you shoot your so generically, we have different kinds of noise, but they're classified as coherent and non-coherent. So for your glimpse, we can look at guided wave, more drone, swell noise, multiples. Next. Then you want to look at random noise, non-coherent noise, we'll be looking at debris noise. Let's go ahead. About guided wave, these are both trapped. The trap between air and cyclone marine. Angles of these waves are over critical angle. So they come in as noise. Next slide, please. This is an example. This is a seismic shock. This you can see how it's masking the main data itself. Because it's not what we really want to look at. Take this thing out. There are various ways of addressing what to show. We do what we call sight and noise attenuation. Attenuation in the sense that you cannot remove the noise 100%. And this is a different spot after your guided wave attenuation. So we try to remove every noise that is in the short record so that we can get a proper picture of the reflectivity in the seismic shock during startup. So move on later to lower startup. So next slide. power domain or random transfer. So when you take a trace, for example, as it is now, and you move it to a transfer, it takes a different pattern. And from that transfer space, you can easily eliminate what you don't like. This is what it is in the XT domain. When you move it to the random transfer, this is what it looks like. You can see, compared to what you're seeing here in the random transfer, they are separate. You can easily put a mute, a knife, whatever you don't want outside. And after which you transform it back. And when you transform it back, what you've taken out from the envelope, it becomes a plain paper. Next slide, please. We talk about decomposition. Removal of short period quantity, stabilize the frequency content, use temporary resolution of the size. The next slide, please. Now, this is a picture of a geological section in depth, and that is the Earth response. And that is the data after decomposition. What decomposition does, if you have some wavelengths that are very low in bandwidth, decomposition will help you to improve the temporal resolution of the seismic, and true events will be picked out correctly for better interpretation. Let's see the next slide. Okay, this is a seismic data being acquired. You can see the low frequency, the bandwidth of the data is looking blurred. After deconvolution, next slide, please. This is what you get. This is the same data set. This is before deconvolution, and that is after deconvolution. Next slide, please. Now we talk about velocity analysis.
Yeah, I am.
There's no way you can talk about seismic data processing without talking about velocity analysis. When we take our shot based on offset and time, I mentioned things like Doppler's effect.
They're using my phone.
Now, you take your shot. The first cable will save. The second cable will use second, third, and fourth. And when you take your shot record, it looks like a phone. Now, we discuss that shot. Next slide, please. We discuss that shot as a normal movement. Now, each of these traces has some characteristics that, when applied to them, they look almost like taken at the same level. That's what we refer to as NMO correction. When we move all traces to the same level, to do that, we apply proper velocity. If a proper velocity is being applied to a seismic, all events return flat that are chronic in nature. They become flat so that your events can be picked according together. This is an example of velocity analysis. The first panel you see is your semblance panel. The second one could be your short or your CDP. And the other one is the main stack of the seismic. And the last one is a stack how your events are so forth. When you pick your velocity, there's an interaction between the four panels. When you pick your velocity, it's going to tell you if your velocity is too fast or is too slow. Let's step in. Now, this is just a case study. Now, this is the initial position of your data based on the offset of time. It is NMO data. When you apply the true velocity to your data set, everything comes to be on the same level. When it is flat, we say you have a perfect velocity. When your events start tending up, as you apply the velocity, we say the velocity is too slow. It is going up. And when you apply it too much, we say the velocity is too high. We see the directions. So as you are picking your velocity, you make sure that you are taking figure B. Whenever you are picking too slow, you correct it. Go the opposite way and make it proper to get the right position. So this is just a description of velocity analysis and NM. The data is NM mode. You want to correct it by using the proper velocity to each trace. You see that the first few traces are not disturbed. But as you go further, the energy and strength of this signal to traces. So we need proper energy and velocity to pick them up to the same level. That's what you're seeing in the screen. Next slide, please. Now, different processors might feel that when they apply this velocity at certain distance, the velocity equation or the energy equation breaks down. When it breaks down, there's nothing you can do about the event that far outside. For example, in B, you can see as you're moving from the first trace toward the last trace, consists of an ambiguous amplitude component. Those are low frequencies, low amplitude data to say. And as a result, if you stack this event, it's going to affect some true events being mapped by low frequencies. So the processor will say, I don't want anything to distort my event. They apply what we call mute. The mute is to change a certain angle to remove every far offset abnormally in the size, so that you can see your true reflections without being affected by any form of low frequencies. Next slide, please. Residual statics. After applying statics, doing some treatment, doing your velocity analysis, you still go ahead. After your velocity, you find that some of the events too are not properly aligned from far to near. So we apply the residual statics. This refers to all the small statics corrections that have to be added to big statics to make up the inaccuracy of those big statics. Application of improved residual statics improves the signal to noise ratio of staff. It also improves definition and less layering and gives rise to improved quality of events. Next slide, please. Now, another process that is being introduced to signal processing is the CRS. The CRS is a common reflection surface technology. What it does is, most algorithms in the software we use to do for processing see the wave as a point. But we know that the wave is not a point. The wave, once it hits the top, it has what we refer to as a Fresnel zone. So, detailed research has been taken into consideration and incorporated mathematically to compensate without defaulting into the processing software. So now we can account for that Fresnel zone instead of just treating it as a point. That's what CRS is all about. Next slide, please. So this is an example of the CRS data. This is a normal conventional processor with CMP seeing the reflection point, while the button on the right is seeing the reflection as a good front. So you can see that it has better continuity, better reflection, addressing system and hot shadow. So if you give them addressing system and hot shadow, you will prefer the cleaner data set for better interpretation because it gives him better information for look to. Next slide, please. We'll talk about stacking. A process seismic record that contains traces that have been added together from different records to reduce noise and improve overall digital quality is what we refer to as stacking. The number of traces that have been added together during stacking is called. I know most of you now all know about codes and talking about your geography. Code in this processing is described as a number of times a particular area is sampled. I grew up in Warri, but I live in Port Harcourt. All my child, I know most parts of the. If I bring a friend from Lagos down to Japan, even if I tell him move to kilometers, you see the full market. Move there, you see them. He will struggle with it. But me that stays in Warri, if you ask, okay, the shop is around the water resources, I will just move straight down there. Because why? I have better information of Warri. I have better sampling of it compared to my friend in Lagos. So the number of times an area is sampled, and the more you sample that area, the better information you get. The number of times that area is being sampled is what we describe processes as food of coverage. We have surface food, we have subsurface food. Next slide, please. This is an example of stacking. This is your common midpoint, as I mentioned, we have surface midpoint, the common depth. Yes. We want to take these traces, look the way they are. 1, 2, 3. Noise is taking care of them. You can see the spike. They are going down based on normal movement, time, and process. Now, when we apply velocity to bring them up onto the same level, they look like what we said in the video. No. Now, when we compress them together, we stack them together, you can see that before the main spike, you see the wiggle. After the main spike, you see the wiggle. When you add them together, you have better resolution. So we say stacking is a process too of noise attenuation. It gives you better improvement of your geology. Next slide, please. These examples of stack traces from different traces, and this is what you get after stacking. Next slide, please. Now I want to move to migration, which is almost the last part of seismic processing. Migration is a process that moves data on our stack seismic or on stack seismic into a true position.
To the left.
Space and time. If we have this event on the left, these are data recorded. And after migration, this is what is going to take to you. What migration does that, it moves the event. If your normal processing sees the reflectors as flat surfaces. But migration takes into account the different reflectors and angles of those different reflectors and move the event for respect of space and time to give you a true picture. Next slide, please. Again, we have post-stack migration and pre-stack migration. Pre-stack migration is when the data is not yet stacked, they are in CDB order in traces, single traces. You try to bring them together and move them. You get a better movement of this event with a position. Unlike when the data has been stacked together. If the data is already stacked time, you struggle to move them to your true position because you've already stacked them. You've already placed them in the position where you're supposed to be. So you struggle to bring them out. But when you stack them where they are on their own, move them to position, it gives you a better geological information. Next slide, please. This is an example of post-stack migration and pre-stack migration. The data post-stack is already stacked, and you try to migrate it. You will struggle to move the event. But when the data are in the original X and Y position, and you try to move them based on the angle azimuth of different plans of the tipping events and the seismic, you get a true picture, better information of the software geology. Next slide, please. Again, migration classification according to time. We have the time migration and we have the depth migration. Time is the time migration. Don't take rebending and lateral velocity changes into account. When we have some complex geology, the time migration fails. Now, it takes shorter time to run and is less expensive. When you have the depth migration, it's a depth domain. It takes the rate bending and lateral velocity changes of the different structures into consideration. And at all, it requires greater computational time. Anything that takes time to do with effort gives you better results.
Yes.
Depth migration results only have better, sharper training compared to the time migration. If and only if the geology is complex. But if the geology is simple, when you do your time migration and depth migration, because it's when you have complexity and dragging complexity, different original structure, you need a depth migration to have. Next slide, please. So this is an example of the time migration, the position of migration cycle data in the true position. We have different kinds of migration, the takeoff migration, FWR, the case may be.
Hello, how are you? I'm seeing you, Austin.
Depth migration. In depth migration, data are migrated in depth domain. And the input of the data is unmigrated seismic in time. The output is migrated data in depth domain. Take into account the geology of bending the waves and pressure within the complex geology. And also, things like the full wave inversion, that's properly too in depth migration where you have one. Next slide, please. So this is a comparison between the time migrated data and the depth migrated data. In this case, we have a complex geology. The velocities within each of the different layers laterally are not the same. So it doesn't take into account the bending, different structure. Compared to what the depth is. So if I give you a data like this, you say, this geology is somehow answering. You can see better compared to your time. Next slide. Again, this is another example of a data set that is being migrated and the one unmigrated. Why migrated? This unmigrated section, you can see the nature of the events. They have a crossfire at different points. They are overlapping each other. But when you want to take a data set of migration, it moves the X and Y's appropriately, and they cancel out properly. You can see in place of where you're having some crossfire, you have better fault information in that area. But here, it's not giving you that there's a fault here, it's just struggling with it compared to what you have in your migration. So the migration has moved all these traces to the true position. You can easily identify where you have faults and your reservoir reposition properly. Next slide, please. Thank you very much. Please, another round of applause for our presenter, the great speaker, who has given justice to the topic. Now, this topic has to be serious because it's something we've been doing in our classes. Just before the chairman will come for a recap, in the question and answer section, I really want the student to please be interactive because this is not part of what we do in the class. So I want you guys to really be interactive, ask a question, and release this your stored energy. The chairman, sir. Okay. I think the presenter deserves another round of applause.
Okay. So before we go into the Q&A session and interactive session, we want to use this video to call the president-elect NAFI in the person of Mr. Moscow Chair, FNAP, to give us his remarks. Please, PE, you can go ahead. I think we can hear you. We are listening. Thank you very much.
Okay, confirm you can hear me. Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, sir. We can hear
We can hear you absolutely very.
Okay, perfect. All right. So I'm also trying to show my video. I'm not sure whether it's showing. I believe it should be showing. If you can't see it. But anyway, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to say, I know I heard the president speak in terms of the agenda why we do all this. Technical meetings, of course, our chapters continue to help us to drive this, for us being the knowledge base of the industry. So I just want to say we are doing the right thing. And again, the Warri chapter coordinator, Professor Juliet, and the entire team, to say well done for what you've been doing so far. And like I keep saying, every single support you need to, from my side as the president-elect and the chair of the continuous education program, I will definitely give it. Already, you've done back to, February, March, April, which means you're doing the right thing. And I've also paid attention to listen to the speaker, the presenter, around the Seismic processing, but of course, with some background from that acquisition. For me, I think it's very important that we realize that everything we do in the industry starts from the Seismic, and I think it's good that we're bringing that message to our entire audience. So I just only want to encourage you. I may not stay till the end, but I really want to appreciate the speaker, and then also the sponsor, an individual sponsor, which is quite impressive. Just thank the spirit to really get these things done. And I know usually in our tradition, our speaker will be recognized. And I really want to say, I know this is hybrid, so I'm joining virtually, but probably Prof, someone on ground will help do the honors on my behalf when it's time for the recognition of our speaker for the work well done today. But on this note, I think I can leave you now so that I don't take much of your time as you continue with the session, my chapter coordinator and everybody on the call. So I'll leave it here and then hand back to you. And then thanks again, the chairman, Dr. Chris Jackson. So it's good to see you're the one sharing the session today. So thanks. I think we're in good hands. So back to you as well.
Thank you very much, dear President-elect. If I were you, I would put my hands together for the president.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, PE. All right, it's time for us to go into the Q&A session, but before we do that, the speaker helped us to explain the rudiment of geophysics. I was just listening with rapt attention, and he was able to take us back to the basic principles. In the presentation is actually focused on seismic processing. But then he was able to take us through the three arms of geophysics, geophysical exploration. He talked about data acquisition, he talked about the processing, and he touched on seismic data interpretation. Now, he actually spent quality time to explain seismic processing. And in seismic processing, he told us that seismic processing is all about taking data, acquired from the field. He talked about the acquisition when he mentioned land acquisition and marine acquisition. He talked about the configuration during acquisition of seismic data, where he talked about the source, he talked about the receivers, he talked about offset distance, he talked about the two-way travel time. He gave us an explanation of seismic acquisition. And if you are actually a student with the professionals that have so much experience, you will maybe witness that we were taken back to the classroom to have better understanding of seismic acquisition. He now moved to talk about seismic processing. And in seismic processing, he talked about all the steps, to process a data. What is actually processing? He mentioned that to process is all about converting the raw seismic into a data that can be visualized and can be useful and can be interpretable. Data that can now show us subsurface structures, which as geoscientists, when we interpret, then we can understand what is going on in the subsurface. He talked about data loading. He talked about visualization and QC. He mentioned trace editing. He moved into talking about static correction. He mentioned amplitude analysis and noise attenuation. He talked about the different types of noise that we have, the coherent noise and the random noise. He mentioned the convolution, talked about the analysis, talked about residual statics, and talked about the common reflection surface. He also moved into static, which is actually very important. He talked about migration. He mentioned the different types of migration. Okay, he talked about the pre-start migration and the post-start migration. He talked about in terms of classification based on types, where we have the time domain and the depth domain migrated seismic. So I do not want to repeat the interpretation. This is the time I want to give us opportunity. The presenter is here, and he is very experienced. That challenge of yours, that question of yours that you prepared even before coming for this presentation, the floor is now open. If you want to ask questions, if you're in the hall physically, just show by raise of hands. Those of us attending virtually, you can drop your question on the chat or Q&A handle of the Zoom, and that will also be read out, and the presenter will attend to it. So the floor, please, I want to see those that have some questions. If you have questions to ask, I expect a lot of questions because we have a mix of professionals, lecturers, those in the industry, and a lot of students here. So you can also write your question and send across. Then if you need microphone to ask your question, you will do that in just 1 minute. We are not saying you give us narrative, just go straight to the actual question and we will address it, because obviously we are running behind schedule. We don't want to stay here longer than necessary. Thank you very much. So you can actually indicate direction. Thank you. And the MC will help us to coordinate the Q&A session. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So do we have any questions from the floor? Question. While we are with that, we want to quickly recognize and appreciate our present Mr. Abiodun Ogunjobi, the president-elect, who just gave a remark, John Bosco Uchi, and the vice president-elect, Mr. A.E. Basway. They are all fellow NAPI. We also want our colleagues from over here in the person of Mr. Bolu M.A. from the PEP and DPEG department. Can we clap them? We also want to recognize and appreciate our very own Dr. Mrs. Omakume Oji. Also with us here present is a geologist who has been attended in Napa, Lagos, although he's based in Warri, and find it important to attend with us today. Please, let's recognize Dr. Onochi Okafor. Dr. Onochi Okafor is the MD, Northeast CAP HD. Please pardon me if I didn't get that right. We also want to recognize our geologist, Dr. Ofudu Kome from Chevron Nigeria Limited. Want to recognize Abakare Oladipo from ND Western. He's a petrophysicist. You're welcome. All right, we also want to recognize our sponsor. Okay, who is Mr. Amanda? Mr. Keep who is ably represented here by Chris Pame. They are from the NURC, formerly known as our DPR. Please recognize and appreciate them. We equally want to appreciate our co-sponsor, which is the Petroleum Training Institute, for giving us this facility. Thank you very much. And we also want to recognize our friend, our brother, who has been an active participant, Mr. Sada A. We also want to recognize Mr. Omoyedu Abiodun. You are welcome. From our footprint chapter, we want to recognize our financial secretary, Nape Warri chapter, in the person of Dr. O.P. Ogbe. Footprint at Science Department, we want to recognize Mr. Adetile A.T., Mr. Apale Olakeji, Mrs. Justina, and Ms. Aisha Joy. Permit me to thank Dr. O.O. Asuma. Asuma is the head of department Geophysics also. I must also recognize our deputy coordinator in the person of Mr. Efe Omojewe. And of course, I cannot stop recognizing our students present with us, especially the NAPE body of and footprint. Please clap.
All right. Thank you very much, the MC. The MC was supposed to help us coordinate the Q&A session, but he helped with the introduction. So we want to go into the Q&A session now. So let's, I have one. Please, all those that have questions, let's see your hands. We just want to try and coordinate it so that we won't have questions that are coming because of a question. So if specifically you have a question, let me see your hands so that we can give you your number. And we have some questions rolling in already online. So we don't have all the time. So this is number one. Just take your number. Number one, number two, number three, number four. Any other person? Any other question, please? Any other question? Number 5 and 6. So we have 6 people with questions in the room. So we'll start from number 1.
Give me that white one. Give me another one.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mrs. Oji, the PCC. And I want to thank the coordinator for this technical meeting for APC. between the academics and the academia and the industry. Mr. Eke, just for the benefit again of the students, about 4 questions. First, I want to ask, what would be the most important educational background you would need to be a professor? Would that be mathematics, physics, geology, or geophysics? Now the next question, you did highlight the various steps for the processing. So I want to ask, these steps, should they be done in a specific systematic order? Or you can do any one at any time you choose? And how will that affect your results? Now the next question is this. Of course, you did give us an highlight of the acquisition, acquisition, processing, interpretation. And when you wanted to do your QQs, when you want to begin, you need to do your data modeling. Would there be a time when you load and you say this data is useless, we cannot even process it? Maybe because of the error of the acquisition team. Or how do you measure that this data is working? And then again, what background information do you need for each step of the processing to be sure that we are right on track? Is there a background geology or background information to say, okay, what I'm not saying is not right, so that we are sure that we are doing each step correctly? Thank you.
Thank you very much. To speak about what background is so good. I would say interest is the most important. I've been in the seismic acquisition group where my chief geophysicist is an accountant. Yeah. We were short of staffs, senior management, and they asked me, can you do this? They've been watching us really for a couple of times. Not only me, several cool, long time, over 10 years. What was an issue in the field? They called me upon, and I was able to do it. So one thing is interest, first of all. Physics, accountants, computation. Even my mom worked for this. She was a fashion designer, so she understands what it is. Then what's the next question again? Art, data. Okay. First and foremost, most data come to the center in form of tapes or in hard disks. When you plug the hard disk in the machine, you try to read the data first to the hard disk. There are we call it in physics. In physics, we call it order. Everything should be in order. There's something you're supposed to see. If you do not see it, it doesn't work. For example, you're supposed to read the tape. In the tape, you wrote short 1 to 300. And when you read the tape, you saw 500. Some shots are missing, which are within the range of the tapes. You know, there's a problem with that tape. You have to always alarm. Secondly, if you are reading the tape and you find out what you are taking in is not what you expect, maybe physical saying on the side, it could be damaged due to magnetic issue. Tape. When you, instead of a shot to come up normally, you see maybe somehow it's bottom, half of the data set to flip. The bottom to the top to the bottom. It might not be that really bad. There are also to physical IT guys who can write some programs to address. You can read the tape and the FFI, for example, the company might have like 3 assets of ours. So they give me a tape of a particular asset they are supposed to read. But when you are reading the tape, when you are reading it in, you are seeing another asset name on that tape. That is the make mistake, they give you another sorting. So you lose that. So these are the things you check. The last one. Okay. Okay. Just as we said that there is orderliness in seismic data processing. We have to do things, if you are doing things like noise attenuation process, I mentioned that you can apply some process, some noise, the noise process to seismic data. You might not completely take them out. You go ahead and do some other things. And when we start the government was properly we go back again. It's like an interactive stuff. You go back, come back, take some noise. But once you finish with your noise, the next thing you do is your computer condition. So you cannot migrate, come back and be doing some certain noise you do in the stuff. But after migration, there has been some noise, but they are different from what is happening. So thank you.
Thank you, lecturer. And I want to appreciate you for making this topic very, very, very simple. In those days, in our days in UI, they will give us so many calculations in migration and all that. So I was not surprised. So you made it very, very simple. And I think these students should give you more applause. So making it very, very simple. Because those days, when you talk about normal movement, a lot of series of velocity, calculation, visa, integration, Laplace, and all that. It becomes very, very interesting. But thank you for making it interesting for us today. Thank you, sir. So my question is this. Now, you enumerated a lot of noises associated with data acquisition and processing. Now, my question is this. Do the seismic source of energy have anything to do with this generation of noises, like the source of your energy? Okay, does it have anything to do with the noises that you talked about? If yes, which of the type of source of energy would we use for seismic data acquisition in order to minimize the noises? Then the other one is what we call coercive uphold. You drill before you generate your source of energy. And then also other one which you do on the surface. Not the generation of energy. Why are they doing this? Why are they drilling hole at the same time? You're also doing at the surface in terms of source of energy for data acquisition. Thank you.
Thank you very much. First and foremost, I'm not a lecturer. When you talk about source of energy in seismic, everything you do is signal. Whatever energy the source is generating is signal. But there's some signals you don't know. We call them unwanted signals. Those are noise. Now, if your source is too much, not that it's going to bring that noise to the data, it may be harmful to the environment. We put into consideration too many considerations when doing certain acquisitions. Environmental problems. We have dynamite. I also have pumping in desert areas. We should switch that area geology is very important. Like in our Niger Delta area, we really do not have that sort of. We have most of our seismic exploration is swamp, forest, and things like that. So we don't have access of taking the source energy that you use on the surface, like the dumping, and have lost space to keep the surface of the energy. But on the northern areas, Charles Basin, they use salt chemicals.
First one is coming.
Okoro Ifunanya Doris, who joined us from online. The question goes like this: what are the main steps involved in pre-stack seismic data processing? I don't know if I can take that again. So what are the main steps involved in pre-stack seismic data processing, and how does it
Recording in progress.
Do your prospect evaluation depending on what you're interested in. Petrophysics, sedimentology, geophysics, petroleum economics, whatever, they will give you the data. But the idea is, let's not belabel that, okay, in this forum. Let's not bother about it. Removing XYZ, that is not really what you applied for. You applied for data, they gave to you.
and it is suitable for the research, you know, that you want to carry out. And I think fair enough, that is okay. So I want to appeal to every one of us. Let's just take it at that point and move on from there. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the beautiful response. Actually, if we need a trouser, we are giving a trouser. I don't think we start asking for.
Because I remember when I was doing my doctoral reports, the first time I did a presentation, they told me point blank this. They don't want S1. And that sent me into a spiral to start looking for another data as a location here. So sometimes maybe it is the school that they went to school. They told me my pressure went like this, and I had already gone over 50% the work. I came back and I was crying. What would I do? It was Mr. Wilson who told me what to do. And my temperature now came down. So he just told me that they don't want X and Y. It's not accepted. Go and give us a shot. And it was really for a lot of people who did the best that day, were in the turmoil.
It's from him. It's from him. It's from him.
Okay.
They need to do better in keeping that. I think the data is up to 5 years. I don't see the fear why they are holding so much. If it's not Nigeria, it's somewhere else, they won't hold it. If you are in history now in MIT and you are doing a research, they will give you everything that you need. But when it comes to Nigeria, it's not like that. So I don't know why. Any parents need to do better so have this thing. What is the holding? If it's up to 5 years, okay, let's move on.
Moving on, we want here with us, and the person of Stanley at Warri Group. Please, can we recognize him? It's an in-house counsel for Mease Energy. And Mease Energy has always been part of it. Also with us is Joy Onye Buni, a geophysicist. Also with Mease Energy. You're welcome. We'll take our number 4.
This one will smoke.
So the students, so my question is, how do we position the geofence? Is it the way we position doing the sensitivity survey? The electron positions some by the right and some by the left. So I want to know how we position the geofence and how the shots are being taken.
Thank you very much. We are going back to the question. Anyway, we just mentioned you did a simple survey, right?
This is seismic acquisition. We also call survey design. Before an acquisition is carried out, there's usually a survey design by the client. He has given us a description, large, short, and receiver should be. But put it at the back of your mind, short is always in a hole, like dynamite. It's being dug inside the hole of a certain depth throughout the survey for uniqueness in terms of application of statics. In marine, it's always attached at the bottom of the boat, like a gun. They call it a gun. When you shoot in the marine, it generates a heavy energy to demonstrate them. For the marine, the geophones are carried, or the hydrophones are carried on a cable on the surface of the stream. They sit with floaters, so that it doesn't sink inside. That's how it's been done in the marine. By now, just planted in the surface, depending on the design of the client. Depending on the client, it's okay.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. I have two questions. The first question is, I'm putting myself in the field. Are you getting me, sir? Now, I've been told to go and shoot a shot in the field. And I went there, it was supposed to be 45-meter depth. And I met there, the record I was given to was 20-meter depth. So is it encouraging to take that shot? And what is the possibility that that shot is going to be better or is going to produce a good shot? The second question, what is the importance of empty shots? Like a shot that is taken after a location has been designated for this shot, but there was no place to take that shot. But they just looked for a location and took that shot. How can that shot be used to correlate the data that is already at hand?
Absolutely. So my question is, my name is Callistus. My question is as regards seismic data processing. So there is a notion that you can't remove every noise from your data, right? No matter how much you process, there will always be noise. So I would like to ask, at what point can someone actually satisfy and say, yes, I'm satisfied with what I processed, and it's something that can actually be used in the field for further interpretation and all that?
Okay, the number 6 question is here with me. Say, how does seismic interpretation result integrate with other subsurface data like the well logs and core sample data in reservoir analysis?
Thank
you very much. For those that want to go to the team, when you go, if you are given a design, and first we have the survey, the seismic crew, we have the survey crew, we have the drilling crew, we have the shooting crew, and we have seismology crew to expect what they're doing. You've been assigned, like the drillers have been assigned to drill a particular depth for acquisition, for short taking. We know that even the contractors, the lesser you drill, the more money you make because they're going to drill more holes. And this is always synonymous with most drillers. If they tell them to drill 60 meters depth, they'll go there and drill 40, 30. You know, those errors give rise to some static information. So we try to address them statics. Then the last one was no, in acquisition, there's one last one. What is it? Okay, in short, remember your physics. There's what we call the Snell's law, incident and reflection, refraction, we say. If those informations are not just put anywhere, they are being calculated in such a way that the midpoint will trace back to that of a missing depth point and give them a receiver. We put them a midpoint that suits it. What I'm saying is that the shot and receiver position are designed such that the midpoint goes back to that point. where you are having information. Then for the processing, at what stage, when a woman is pregnant, when it's about to give birth, you don't know the exact time it's going to give birth until the water breaks. When you are doing your seismic, when you do it first, in your seismic and processing, you do your starting. Initially, you get your data, we call it brood start. From that brood start, you will see the different noises on the section, what you don't want to see. How can you take it out? So when you start it, you see the noise. You go back to the pre-start data, do some noise again. You start again. If you see it, you go back because it is hindering your reflections you're supposed to see. So, a couple of times, majority of the noise you see in your start can be easily addressed. It's just some small minor noise like a random noise everywhere that you find it difficult to take your time. Maybe due to some frequency content, amplitude stuff. In all, from your start data set, your booster, you will see the major noise inside. When you do your denoise, you see that you are pulling it out completely. I don't know if you are getting the picture. You see from the start session that this noise is not there. Or if it's there, it's not affecting the picture. Thank you. In this case, you are pushing me to interpretation. I don't want to go into it. Let me give it to those who are in charge of interpretation.
Okay. All right. Yeah, thank you very much. This is actually a technical question, just like he said when somebody was asking, how do you play the geophone? It needs some level of experience that I will just try to break it down a bit. Now, seismic data, the product of seismic processing, which is the processed seismic data, that is where we start from. And this processed seismic data is always in the time domain. Now, when you are talking about relating it with other subsurface data, all other subsurface data are in the depth domain. So that is the first thing you need to understand. So how do you now relate, this seismic data and relate your logs, relate your pressure data, or whatever data you have in mind? I don't know the ones you have in mind, but I'm just talking about pulling together all the subsurface data. So first thing you do, we do what is called synthetic generation, okay? You generate your synthetic seismogram. And in doing that, there are simplistic ways, of doing that. First, there are different reasons. You are just trying to relate the data acquired in the time domain, which is basically seismic, to all the other data you have, which are in the depth domain, okay? The seismic in the time domain with all other ones in the depth domain. So how do? You need some functions. First, when you finish generating your synthetic seismogram, you extract, functions, and that function is just some click of the button. You will convert it to help you using different tools. We have some Schlumberger tools, Petrel, we have DSG from Hamilton, we have geographics, we have different software. This is not really what you can just hold by hand. The seismic data is not one notebook that you hold by hand. They are all in soft copy. So you load them like the presenter was talking about in your software. Now, having done that, that can help you to tie, example, your reservoir tops or your formation tops to your reflectors, the events from seismic, which is in time. And it's just some iterative process. It will relate and see time. It needs some experience. That will help you to go into your interpretation. Now, even after that, there is another level where this one actually you needed your check shot. Check shot is very simple. You use your check shot data or you use your VS, which is called profile. So use that. The function you generate. If you want to pick up and keep on seismic velocity, And when you have this seismic velocity, what you use it to do is to model. We have what velocity modeling, and there are different kinds of velocity modeling. Check out linear velocity modeling, average velocity model, do you not get total velocity modeling? So you use that to generate a velocity model, and that model you use to convert everything you have in time, and you just see everything related, so that you know when I see this lock here, what event does it represent? I can now call an event a particular reservoir name because I've related them. So it's actually a kind of practical process which there is no explanation. Whether I want to do 30 minutes explanation that will make you fully understand that, at least with the insights I've given, at least you can relate to how we make this work and how we put together all the subsurface data. Thank you very much. Thank you. All right, I think we've come to the end of the Q&A session, but let's put our hands together for our presenter. So I just want to make a caveat with respect to the data we were talking about for research. Some companies go another step to make you sign what we call confidentiality agreement. So they give you some terms, you must sign it, they define what you want to use that research for. Is it just for jokes? Is it for publication? Is it for value driven? They can collaborate with you from the academia to say, okay, do this research, let us see what that results. We've been having these challenges. They tell you the field name, give you other things. So it depends on the discretion of the company. Then let's just take it easy and understand that this data is very important and just given out anyhow. Thank you very much. At this point, we've come to the end of the technical presentation and the Q&A session. It's my pleasure now to hand over to the MC and the chapter coordinator of Warri. Thank you very much. Thank you. As they take us to the next closing formalities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jackson. And thank you, presenter. So it's time to recognize the presenter, to appreciate him without time. He came all the way from Port Harcourt this morning. Thank you so much. Let's put a hand of applause for Peter Energy. So after that, Dr. Jackson, you help us present.
Wait, come on, let me go. Go down. Do this one. Go down. Go down. Those two words. Go down.
Okay. Thank you very much. Mr. Presenter, Mr. Stanley, this is a token from NAPE in appreciation of your support and the presentation. You've been supporting NAPE previously in sponsor the Warri chapter and today we get back to make somebody of appreciation. So this is from the
Namaste. Namaste. This is your life.
No, it's only that.
So we appreciate the sponsor of this event, Ikebe Nakumba, who is currently not around the country, but his colleague, Muhammad from NUPRC, is here to represent him. I call on Dr. Wilson. Yes,
Good afternoon. This is an award of appreciation here to Mr. Alikini Fukuba on behalf of the NAPE Warri chapter who have sponsored the April 2024 technical and business meeting. This is
Thank you so much. Thank you. So we're going to our announcement now. Lucky, are you online?
Okay, check online. Okay.
Lucky, are you there? We get the announcement. We get the announcement. So you next time. Okay, so our conference is coming up 10th to 14th November with the team Resolving Nigeria Energy Trilemma, Energy Security, Sustainable Growth and Affordability. I'm sure of us will mark our calendars. I will be in Lagos Hotel at that date. Next slide. Then it's called for abstract. Next slide. It's called for abstract that is open, please. And it's still open to for now. Tell me your abstract for presentation. The editorial team. Next slide. Then for those companies or individuals that want to exhibit, the exhibition floor is still open. So please reach out to the secretariat and book your. And you can see that what is showing they have reserve. Most of them are already taken. About 70%, 80% gone. So we have about 20% remaining. So the next slide. This is to remind everyone that we need to pay our dues. Let's pay our let's be up to date in 2024. Because NAPE has a new law now. It has been there, but it has not been active, but they made it active now. If you don't have a minimum of 50 or 100 active members, like professionals, that pay their royalty days, they will just deactivate that chapter. And I don't want that to happen to Warri, so please go back and pay. Okay, so that will be all for the announcement. So they will take a group photograph. Let's I don't know how to do that now. When we go out, okay, before we go, let's do the vote of time. So we just go out to the group and we're going to come back to it.
Yes. It's one.
Great NAPE. Nobody is responding. Gas. Great NAPE. First.